What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal SpazPhoenix, the YWC reality check, and this is not a Raw review, which is good because, you know, Impact just ended, and in terms of the wrestling week, that's a little late to be doing a Raw review. This is going to be kind of a clusterfuck. This is going to be a couple of different things that have happened in the past little while that I haven't had a chance to comment on yet. We're going to talk about Battlegrounds, we're going to talk about predictions for Battlegrounds, we're going to talk about stuff that's going on Raw, stuff that's going on in wrestling in general. Briefly, because TNA did just end, and I wasn't even planning on doing this. I wasn't even planning on talking about anything TNA. I watch TNA. You guys know I watch TNA. I watch it and I have a lot of fun with it, but I have a lot of fun with it because I'm able to watch it very recreationally and I don't think too much about it. But I'm with everybody else. I'm going to say that TNA is falling apart at the seams because if you don't, you're blind, pretty much. Bound for Glory is coming up. Now, considering they only have four real pay-per-views in the year, and Bound for Glory is supposed to be the biggest one of the year, is it bad that the only match I want to see on this card is the X Division title Ultimate X match between Jeff Hardy, Manic, Chris Sabin, and Austin Aries? I could do without Manic being in the match, not gonna lie, but I think he's the champion at the moment. I'm not even sure. Jeff Hardy announced on Impact he's going to be in his first Ultimate X match, which is, you know, he did the whole Terror Dome thing, which I think is a lot cooler. But, you know, Jeff Hardy in a ladder match-esque environment is pretty much the only thing piquing my interest for Bound for Glory. Sting's going to take on Magnus. Yay. You know, AJ's going to take on Bully Ray. As much as I like Bully Ray as champion, and as much as what they're doing with AJ right now is interesting, the whole carbon copy Dixie Carter trying to be one of the McMahons thing is old fast. Aces and Eights is dead. So an X Division match that's probably going to jerk the curtain at their biggest pay-per-view of the year is the only reason I might watch the show. That's bad, isn't it? But let's talk about WWE. Let's talk about the IWC, YWC. The first thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm only going to touch on it briefly because it's really not that big of a deal. I can't believe still at this point in the IWC the amount of people that suck Rey Mysterio cock. I really can't. It's all this, you know, can't wait for him to come back, can't wait for him to come back, he should be the champion again, can't wait for him to come back, he's going to have another long run, and da-da-da. And I get it. I do. I want Jeff Hardy to come back to the WWE. I want him to have another run. I don't even care if he wins the title. I just want to see him back on the large stage that he deserves to be on, and I personally think he belongs on. I'm not going to say bump CM Punk, bump Daniel Bryan, bump Randy Orton, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Dolph Ziggler, etc., and give Jeff Hardy that spot. No. But there's a lot of people that are so singularly minded that it's okay, bring back Rey and give him the belt. Bring back Rey and slap the belt on him. They are sucking the Rey Mysterio cock, and it's awkward. But what's even worse is when they talk about young guys coming into the company. There's one of them is El Generico / Sami Zayn, and the other one is it's a name that I don't really remember because I'm not really that familiar with it, but I believe it's Samurai Del Sol, luchador guy who's currently in NXT, which I haven't watched forever and ever and a day. But it's like, you know, oh, I can't wait till they get up on the main roster. And, you know, me, personally, you get somebody like that. I've seen a bit of Sami Zayn stuff. I saw the match that he had with Antonio Cesaro that everybody's buzzing on. And it's good shit. I can't wait for him to come up. I would love to see him go to the roster. I would love to see him go with somebody like a CM Punk, with somebody like a Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel, Evan Bourne when he comes back. Somebody fast, even like not that it would be the greatest matchup, but even somebody like Sin Cara, even like the Matadors, which we'll talk about later, trust me. Anybody fat, like put him up against CM Punk for a one-off, put him up against Daniel Bryan for a one-off, Ziggler for a one-off. But there's people there that are like, oh man, when he comes up to the main roster, can you wait? Can you imagine what it'll be like for him to go up against Rey Mysterio? I'm like, no, because Rey Mysterio is what people say about Rob Van Dam, except worse. The thing that he got popular on was he was a really awesome cruiserweight in WCW, and then he came to WWE and they fucked him up, and they made him go with big guys, and he's been hurt how many times? And he's got the big plastic pajama pant thing going on now, and he's slow. He's not the lightning fast, crisp cruiserweight that you believe him to be in your imagination. If you truly want these new guys that are coming up from NXT that are, you know, lightning fast and, you know, or Greased Lightning, or any of those other cliches you want to put them up against somebody that they can show it against. You know, bring a couple guys over from TNA, from the X division, like a Kazarian or a Daniels or you know, Amazing Red or Manic or any one of those guys. If you want to make somebody like a Sami Zayn or this Samurai Del Sol, which I will admit I'm not very familiar with. If you want to have them doing what they do, have them do it with somebody. But no, because Rey Mysterio for some people is the be all and end all. It's like, I don't understand. I don't want Rey to come back. It's not that I don't respect him. It's really, really not. But, you know, hand him another world title belt. It's like, I'm sorry. As much as everybody hates to admit this because it's not classy and it's not PC and it's not very sensitive to say it, his meaningful title run was because Eddie Guerrero passed away. And I'm not saying that to be cruel or to be callous or to be cold. I'm really not. I have respect for Eddie Guerrero. I have respect for Chavo, which most people don't. And I have a lot of respect for Rey Mysterio. But his time is done. The guy's busted. Like, how long did he last time he was there? And you're going to put the well-being and the image of all these new guys that are crisp and clean and fast and, you know, catching lightning in a bottle by putting them in a match with Rey? Yes, he's got the knowledge. Yes, he's got the know-how and the experience to pass on to those guys. He doesn't need to do it in the ring. That's all I'm saying about that. Sorry if that comes across as me being a dick, but, you know, it is what it is. Let's talk about October. Let's talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Let's talk about the Susan G. Komen for the Cure. Now, everybody remembers last year my rants about Susan G. Komen for the Cure because, and here's what it is, it's a great cause. For better or for worse, or whatever you think about WWE's business practices and how they went about doing their charity shit and the political bullshit that people want to mung it down with when it is a good thing, at the end of the day, a charitable organization for a good cause got a check for $1 million. Did WWE make money? Yes. Of course they made money. They are a money-making juggernaut. They are a money-making machine powered by the almighty evil brain of Vince McMahon. They are going to make money. They will make money despite themselves, as CM Punk said back in the summer of Punk. But at the end of the day, they gave $1 million to a cause as genuine as breast cancer awareness. Nobody can take that away from them, not even me. What I don't like is at the same time they pimped out the whole charitable organization to make John Cena look like Superman. He was the only one allowed to wear pink. He was the only one that had a shirt made, one of his shirts made into a breast cancer awareness shirt, and he was the only one allowed to wear pink that entire month. He was the only one allowed to look like he was fighting breast cancer. So, you know, last ditch effort. If you boo John Cena, you're cheering for cancer. This was what WWE did last year, and that's why I didn't like it. It was never that I didn't like the charitable organization that they were supporting. This year, probably because John Cena's not actually there, I'll say that, but they've got the pink ring ropes again, which I think is great. It's a nice touch. It's subtle. It's not very in your face. It's just there, and it does its thing, and it doesn't hurt anybody. Same thing with the Susan G. Komen big pink ribbon on the rampway. It's nice. It's classy. Again, it's not in your face. But there's multiple superstars that have shirts. I think there's a Fandango breast cancer shirt. There's a CM Punk. There's an AJ Lee. I almost said AJ Styles. Look at me go. I shouldn't be doing a Raw review while I'm talking about Impact. But there's a Ziggler shirt. I think there's a Fandango Susan Komen for the Cure. Why is my VCR ticking? Why I don't even. Yes, I still have a VCR. I'm kind of like Spyro Andover in the sense that I will not give up the VCR, even though I have a Blu-ray sitting right next to it. There's an R-Truth shirt. There's a Randy Orton shirt. And a lot of people out there are being really, really butthurt, saying, oh, WWE only made more shirts to make more money. I counteract that with this. First of all, there's guys like me who are never going to buy a John Cena shirt in their life. I bought one John Cena shirt once when he was actually still good in his first, 1 or 2 years of his career. And I don't even know where it is now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say I tossed it out or burned it or anything like that, but I just don't know where it is, and I don't care. But, you know, if I was at a show, well, I'm not going to go on, on .com and get it, but if I was at a show, I might get the Randy Orton Susan Komen shirt, or I might get the, the Miz or the CM Punk or whatever Susan Komen shirt, because you know what, some of them look pretty damn cool. Now, what that does is that diversifies how many fans you're touching, so ultimately, It diversifies how many people are going to buy the shirts. And yes, it puts more money in WWE's pocket, but if there's more shirts being bought, there's more money going to the charity, no matter what the percentage is. Stop worrying about the fucking percentage. Start worrying about the fact that whatever money they do hand them was money that they didn't have before. Oh, yes. Second of all, it's not as disrespectful as it was last year. It's not being used to boost one character. It's being used so that the WWE body as a whole can say, look, we are supporting this. All of us are supporting this, not just John Cena. So, you know, it's something worth looking at. It's something worth supporting. It's something worth throwing, you know, the weight of a multi-billion-dollar New York Stock Exchange traded global conglomerate behind. So they're doing it right this year, I think. I mean, are they going to overdo it? Are they going to, you know, do, you know, way too many video packages? Are they gonna do something like that somewhere where it's gonna be mildly annoying? Sure, but okay, do you want to hear too many video packages about the Susan G. Komen for the Cure, which is a good cause? Or do you want to backtrack and have too many video packages for the WWE app? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Whatever. The Night of Champions refunds. Now, I've gotten a couple, like, I haven't read as much on this one as some people. I've heard that some people are so pissed off about the ending of Night of Champions that they asked for refunds, and I've heard that some people, the next night after Raw was over, saw what happened on Raw and asked for their money back for the Night of Champions pay-per-view. Now, here's the thing. Here's a couple of things that I'm going to say. First of all, I'm one of the few, I'm aware. I didn't think Night of Champions was that bad. Did I like the ending of Orton versus Daniel Bryan? No. The ending telegraphed what was going to happen on Raw the next night, and I don't like that. I like going into Raw being like, holy shit, what's going to happen next? Not, well, that was a fucked up thing, and, you know, whatever, knowing that so-and-so's going to screw so-and-so, or Daniel Bryan's going to lose the belt in this case. But on the whole, I thought it was a good show. The Paul Heyman CM Punk thing was interesting. Curtis Axel having 2 matches is, you know, whether you like him or not, it's a new guy getting exposure, and what do we complain about in the YWC? We complain about the same guys always being in those main event spotlights. Curtis Axel ain't an old guy. He's not Cena, he's not Orton, he's not Sheamus. You know, it is what it is. The tag team turmoil outlined how many great tag teams we have in the division right now, and then we had a tag team championship match on top of that. It was good, you know. RVD versus ADR is a bit awkward, I will admit, but the match was good for what it was. Orton versus Bryan, except for the ending, was good for what it was. But here's my thing. A, I didn't think it was a very bad show at all. B, if the show was bad, or if you deem the show to be bad, that's not the cable company's fault. That's the WWE's fault. Call the WWE if you think you need a refund. Don't call, you know, Netstar or Rogers or Ace One or Bell Satellite, or, you know, they're not the ones that put the show together. You're a retard. You know, if you would go to Vince McMahon's door and say, well, your show sucked, I want my money back, he's going to tell you to go fuck yourself. He's going to look at you as a fan and tell you you're fired. That's what's going to happen there. Vince McMahon has gone out on TV before and fired the fans. You know, it is what it is. Thirdly, and I believe this wholeheartedly, if you buy a pay-per-view, like I buy a pay-per-view, and I could get into the whole spiel that I got into on the Breakers Facebook group about the people that don't pay for their pay-per-views and still bitch like they got robbed. That's another rant for another video. But if you buy your pay-per-views, you are buying the chance. You are buying the hope. You are buying the dream. You are buying the desire that the show will be good. You are not promised that when you buy this show it's going to be exactly the show you want. You buy it and you pay your $45 or $55. You're gambling that $45 against the fact that it's going to be a good show. You are taking on that gamble. You as the consumer, you as the WWE universe, you as the pay-per-view customer, as the you know, cable service provider's customer, as a WWE customer as a whole, you are paying $45 to take the gamble that you will like the show that you watch. That's on you, not on them. Definitely not on the cable company. Moving on. Santino and the Cobra Charming bullshit on SmackDown. Now, Santino Marella is an idiot. if you want any more proof of that, he's teaching legit MMA in Toronto, but still comes back to the WWE to put a sock puppet on his hand and hang out with Hornswoggle and the Great Khali. Really? And this is the goofball they had almost win the Elimination Chamber, guys. Let's think about that. This is the goofball they had almost win the Royal Rumble. Do we remember that? This is sad shit. And let's just run through Heath Slater versus Santino Marella on SmackDown. And Jinder Mahal has a flute with which he's going to charm the Cobra. So now we are led to believe that somebody racially stereotyped in the corner with a flute has the power to control somebody else's arm because it's got a sock puppet of a snake. Furthermore to that, now the snake is torn as to what to do because now there are two flute players because the Great Khali is now involved. Furthermore, these two flutes convince a man's own arm to turn on himself. And when this man is knocked out, the flutes bring the arm back to life, and that brings the person back. Stop the world, I want to get off. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Moving on. Flip side of that. Flip side of the comedy coin is the debut of Los Matadors. People think this is stupid too, and I don't think it is. Santino doesn't make any sense. The Matadors, you might not like what it is, but it was done well. It was a Matador gimmick created for comedy. And it does that. And if you are going to do something goofy, and this is one of the problems I have with Santino, if you're going to do something goofy, you better go balls to the wall and go all the way with it. And they absolutely did, with the entrance, with the capes, with the mini bull and this sort of thing. Epico and Primo, or Fernando and Eduardo, or whatever the hell they're called now, it might not be a good gimmick, but they've embraced it. And that is something. It's a goofy gimmick, but they took it to the limit. They have, you know, the big bull entrance with the smoke, and the mini, and all this sort of thing. And I've had people this week come up to me and ask me, or question me on Facebook, or send me comments, or whatever, how can you like the Matadors and El Torito and not like Santino and the Cobra? They're the same thing. They're props. It's a living prop, but it's still a prop. Like, how can you... If nothing else, the bull makes sense. That's it. You know, Santino Marella is an Italian guy from the crowd who knows Marella martial arts. What does that have to do with a snake? You've got guys who legitimately have a corny gimmick that's funny and created, you know, to be corny. Like, that is its point. They're Matadors. The Matadors have a bull. That makes sense. It's comedy, and it's stupid. And would I put it in front of anybody that's not a wrestling fan to say this is why I'm a wrestling fan? No. But it's done the right way, and it's done so over the top in the right way that I don't mind it, and I laughed. And if you can put a smile on my face, no matter how corny you are, if you can put a smile on my face while I'm watching your match, then it can't be that bad. I mean, they're going up against 3MB. 3MB put a smile on my face too, because they're corny as fuck, and they're supposed to be. Santino Marella has been put in legitimate spots, I guess. There's no rhyme or reason for what Santino Marella is, even as a comedy character, but he's been put in legitimate spots where he's touched the world title scene. Epico and Primo and Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre are not ever going to touch a world title. And I'm very confident in saying that. But Santino Marella, like I said earlier, he's been in the Elimination Chamber for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's been the last guy in the Royal Rumble. That's insulting to everybody's intelligence. You go and tell somebody like Bret Hart or somebody like Shawn Michaels that have won the Royal Rumble that Santino Marella is in the same category as them. It's just bad. It's just really, really bad. But, yeah, Santino gets a thumbs up. Santino gets a thumbs down. Matadors get a thumbs up and made me laugh my ass off. But that being said, a couple of other things I will say, not even wrestling related. You guys know I'm doing the whole Walking Dead group on Facebook. It's called The Walker's Den. If you want, the link will be in the description box below. Check it out. Walking Dead is coming back in like 9 days. And if you're not watching Walking Dead, let me really suggest what I just finished watching, which was the show Orange is the New Black. It's a Netflix exclusive that I had a friend of mine, or actually a cousin of mine, burn for me, and I just binge watched it over the course of 3 days. Another great show. Also, part of the reason I'm losing my voice, and part of the reason why I look like I'm kind of going to fall over, since WrestleMania, I've been working out more. I've been walking home from work, which, for any of you that actually knows me, knows that it's about an hour and a half away. I've been doing that walk at least four days of the week out of 5, and when I can't do it 5, I do it 4. Add to that 2 weeks ago I signed up for Zumba. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Trust me, it's a lot more exciting than Mark Pearson, you know, failing at DDP yoga and then feeding his slam peg wife a rabbit or two. But it is what it is. For anybody that cares, since WrestleMania, I've lost about 40 pounds. I don't know if it shows because you guys basically see my head, but I've been told you can see it in my face. Can you see it in my face? I really don't know. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. This channel, and I'll say this as well before I get on to the Battlegrounds preview, this channel is not going to be the way it used to be. When I came back from sort of my mini hiatus, I thought I was going to get back to doing Raw reviews on the regs, and it's just, guys, I'm busy. I got work, and I'm doing a couple of other things. There's other things going on in my life other than wrestling over there and YouTube over here. Not that I don't care, but it's just I'm not going to turn off the TV at about 11:15 at night and then start doing a video to review Raw, especially when, you know, I can hit on the bullet points and move on. There will be something most weeks here. Weeks when there's a pay-per-view, there might even be 2. There might even be, you know, random topic video and then a preview or a review. So stuff will still be going on this channel. It just won't be as cut and dry. You guys know how I used to be. You guys, I used to do the Raws. If there was a special SmackDown, I used to do SmackDown. I used to do the pay-per-view preview, the pay-per-view review. I used to do a lot more collabs with guys like Alex and Preston and Angela and NJ and stuff like that. That's not happening so much anymore, but I am going to be here as on the regs as I possibly can. You'll get something from me. There'll be a lot of Clusterfuck videos like this. As opposed to, okay, this is a Raw review, this is a SmackDown review, this is a review of da-da-da-da-da, this is what I think of WWE's top 50 whatever. So I've rambled long enough. You will get something from me. I just can't tell you off the top of my head what it's going to be because it will change from minute to minute, as does life. Let's talk about Battlegrounds. Let's talk about some of the matches for Battlegrounds. Let's talk about a match that nobody really gives a fuck at all, and I just, to be honest, just found out was happening by looking at WWE.com. Curtis Axel is going to take on R-Truth for the Intercontinental title. Anybody think that R-Truth's going home with the Intercontinental title? No? Not even you? Not even you in the back? Okay, moving on. Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus the WWE Tag Team Champions Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Now, from the sounds of it, this is not for the titles, which is lame, but it makes sense in a way, because what's at stake here is 3 people's jobs. Goldust having a job, Cody Rhodes having a job, and Dusty Rhodes keeping his job. Also, the fact that even though they're brothers, Cody Rhodes and Goldust will feel very much like a thrown-together tag team, and anybody that knows what I used to think of Team Hell No knows what I feel about throw-together tag teams. But the Shield is going to look awesome in this. Cody Rhodes and Goldust are going to get the win because the titles are not on the line. They're not going to fire Dusty Rhodes off NXT. He's too much of a figurehead there. They need Cody Rhodes back, and Goldust can sort of float around and do whatever, but the Shield will keep the belts, and they will look strong, and they will look impressive while they're guarding Triple H and Randy Orton, and that'll be that. I'm glad that the titles are not on the line, because logically speaking, the next people that should get a chance at those titles are the Usos, because they were named the #1 contenders a couple weeks ago, I believe. Dolph Ziggler versus Damien Sandow. 2 guys that are really good at losing. Somebody has to win. The briefcase is not on the line, so Damien Sandow is not going to win. I got Ziggler for this one. Curtis Axel's... sorry, I should probably be doing this as I go. Curtis Axel's going to win. Cody Rhodes and Goldust are going to win. Dolph Ziggler's going to beat Damien Sandow because the briefcase isn't on the line, and because, you know, if you have the Money in the Bank briefcase and it's not on the line, you're going to lose. That's just the way it is. CM Punk versus Ryback is another opportunity for bullshit. Another opportunity for CM Punk to get one over, or sorry, for Paul Heyman to get one over on CM Punk, especially with this whole like bromance, romantic angle that they started on Raw this week with Ryback and Paul Heyman. I don't care. I think it's great. Paul Heyman can do no wrong in my book, and Paul Heyman is even making Ryback interesting. I don't think this match is going to be that great. It's really not. Like, we've seen CM Punk and Ryback go at it before at Hell in the Cell a year and a bit ago, I want to say. The story here is still CM Punk versus Paul Heyman, no matter who he's facing, so that's something. But I want to ask you guys something, and this is going to be a discussion question down in the box below. To have a storyline like this, what they're doing with Paul Heyman and Ryback, so soon after Darren Young made his big coming out of the closet announcement. Distasteful, yes or no? I want to know what you guys think about that, because I really don't know how I feel about it just yet. I'm glad they didn't do a gay angle with Darren Young, because that would be stereotypical and wrong, but, you know, it is what it is. Brie Bella, purely on the fact that she's engaged to Daniel Bryan, is getting a shot at AJ, and better not win. That's all I'm saying. World Heavyweight Championship, Alberto Del Rio versus Rob Van Dam in a Battleground Hardcore Rules match. Now, this is the only match on the card that has anything to do with the title of the pay-per-view, which leads me to the topic of, when this pay-per-view was announced, what did you think it was going to be? A lot of people thought it was going to be the War... I'm getting texted, apparently. That's awesome. A lot of people thought it was going to be the War Games. A lot of people thought it was going to be some type of Survivor Series, cage, multi-person thing, and it was going to be like another themed pay-per-view. It doesn't seem to be, and there doesn't seem to be anything to link it to the title other than it's replacing, you know, it would replace like No Way Out or Vengeance, or, you know, where the name of the pay-per-view really means nothing at all. What did you think that Battlegrounds was going to be, and are you or are you not surprised or disappointed that it is not a new thing? Because WWE made this big deal about, okay, tune in for WWE's inaugural new event, Battleground. And they really pressed it in such a way that it was going to be something new. I really don't care, because the card is lackluster and a lot of it is copy from last month anyway, but a lot of people are really up in arms that it wasn't something new. A lot of people convinced themselves that it was going to be the resurgence of the War Games or something new like that. So what I want to know, another discussion question for you guys to pop down in the box below. Are you surprised / are you disappointed that this is not a brand new concept pay-per-view? Because let's be honest, a Battleground Hardcore Rules match is just an Extreme Rules match as far as I know, unless there's something grave and different to it. Nice to see Rob Van Dam. Apparently he's going on a break soon, so clearly he's not getting the belt. But, you know, Hardcore Rules is right in his wheelhouse. Alberto Del Rio can shine in similar situations. It'll be a good match. A lot of people are saying it's going to be the sleeper match of the night. It has the potential to be, but I'm not hanging my hat on it. How about that? Del Rio's going to retain the championship. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton for the held-up WWE Championship. Either nobody's going to win this or Orton's going to win this. There's no way Daniel Bryan gets his big final payoff at a brand new B pay-per-view. I'm thinking Survivor Series. And you know why? You know why I want it to be Survivor Series? Guys, you guys know the answer to that by now. I want it to be at Survivor Series because I'll be there. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But, yeah, Storytelling 101, ha ha ha, says that Bryan doesn't walk out with the belt. I don't know if Orton walks out with the belt. I don't know if there's a big schmoz. I don't know if Big Show doesn't go down to the ring and knock out both of them. I don't know whether the ring doesn't just fill with superstars that are revolting against Triple H. I don't know what happens, but Daniel Bryan, one way or another, is not walking out with the belt tonight. So, to run it down one more time, and then I'm going to stop talking, because I've hit the half-hour mark, almost sitting there at 29:03, 04, 05. Axel's going to retain. The Shield is going to retain, even though they're going to lose to the Rhodeses. Dolph Ziggler is going to beat Damian Sandow, because it just doesn't matter. Brie Bella is not going to win the Divas title, because she doesn't deserve it. Banging Daniel Bryan doesn't make you a #1 contender. Just saying. Ryback's going to beat CM Punk. The story with Paul Heyman is another one. It's like the Daniel Bryan story. The big payoff will not happen at a small pay-per-view. It might also happen at Survivor Series. Okay, I'm being obnoxious now. Who would have thought? Del Rio is going to retain, and Randy Orton or nobody will leave with the WWE Championship, and the controversy will continue. Guarantee that Triple H will be there and fuck up something. Guarantee that the Heyman family will be there and fuck up something. Will we see other tag teams get involved in the Rhodeses versus Shield match? I'm thinking guys like the Usos or the Primetime Players might come in and fuck over the Shield. It might be alright. I'm thinking somebody like the Wyatt family, figure this one out. The Wyatt family is just evil enough to want to join forces with the Shield. Are they not? Would that not be fun? The Rhodeses and, say, the Usos and the Primetime Players versus all 3 members of the Shield and all 3 members of the Wyatt family. There's your 6-on-6 Survivor Series match. But I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? I am rambling. It is, as usual, ridiculous o'clock in the morning. I will wrap it up, because I'm pretty sure you guys are done listening to me talk. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all of these conversations going. If you have something you want me to make a video on, you've got a topic that you want to talk about that you think I could stretch out into an entire video or a couple of topics, toss them down in the box below. I can't guarantee they will be done. That's what I will say. But yeah, don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
Like me, don't